Hey guys, I'm going to recap for you The Real Housewives of Miami, episode 10, Diamond Rings and Rumors. I felt like the title of this episode should have been Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, because I felt like that was the opportunity here for this episode. But, oh my gosh, Housewives of Miami, again, they killed it, and I can't wait to get into this. Let's go. So we last left off at Alexia's charity event, and we're in that moment where Larsa and Nicole are arguing about who's judging who's the less judgmental person and whatnot. And Larsa, she reinforces to Nicole that the reason why I'm going at you with these jabs is because it is quite rude for someone to invite someone to their home and say to their face that, oh, I had to look you up to know who was coming into my home, which I agree is rude. If you felt that way, I wouldn't say it to the person's face, especially if you're trying to start a friendship with that person. I don't know. Nicole, her strategy in trying to make this friendship happen doesn't seem to be working. And Larsa, even though Nicole is upset that she brought up the jab that she's dated this person that was a teacher and whatnot, that kind of dig is something that Larsa shouldn't do. But I felt like Larsa felt like she had to kind of defend herself. Like, she did not come for Nicole. She felt like she had to defend herself against Nicole if she came to her that way. And of course, when you come for Larsa, she's going to swing pretty hard. So she drops another tidbit that catches Nicole off guard. Larsa, she goes to say that Nicole gets around in the hospital where she works at. And Larsa said she didn't make any judgment over that. And that, oh my gosh, the look on Nicole's face is like, how can you just say that? And, in the confessionals, you hear Nicole talking about, I'm getting judged by a person who sells feet pictures for $5 on OnlyFans, and I'm a doctor, and I have experience. I worked hard for this. And I felt like when she was going through her confessional, she was kind of missing the point. And the point is that Larsa doesn't want to be judged. She doesn't want to be regarded as less than. And I think that Nicole shouldn't treat or try to throw shots at Larsa to make her feel less. Oh, she's an OnlyFans person. She sells feet pictures for $5. I don't think you should say those things if you're a person who's trying to be a person's friend. Like, don't invite someone to your home and have these kind of judgments towards them and say you're trying to be real. Of course, Larsa's gonna throw back at you and say you're fake because you're nice to everyone, but you're not really nice. You don't say how you really feel about a person. Only when these moments happen, that's when we get to know how you really feel. And Larsa, I felt like, she has a point in that, because from Nicole, even though she can be, she's nice, she's a sweet girl, and I actually do like her. It's just, I don't get why she's having these kind of judgments over Larsa. I mean, I feel like they can at least put better efforts in getting to know each other. I think what they should do is they should sit down one-on-one and really decide if they want to be friends or not, or if this is just a cordial thing. And Nicole, she has a point. She says that these claims that you're making about me cannot be substantiated. So don't say these things and think that you did something. But I felt like Larsa, she did a reverse Uno on her. And she said, well, that can be the same thing said about the articles you read online. How do you know that this can be true? How do you know if you don't talk to me and get to know me as a real person? And she does a hair flip. And I'm like, yes, you just read her back. I felt like Larsa, she's one of the girls that if you come for her, she's going to come for you. And you do not want her to come back to you. I felt like that was a really good moment. And on top of that, you could see how Nicole is in her eyes, she's shocked seeing how this is happening and kind of get caught in this moment. But Larsa, she's just ready for the shots. You take a shot at her, she takes a shot back. And I can respect that, because Can no one come for you and you not defend yourself? To me, it's a little bit interesting how Nicole is going about. I had to look up Larsa to know who wasn't coming to my home. I felt like, if you're going to invite someone to your home, you're already making a gesture that you're welcoming them to your home. I don't think like it's so hard. It's wild to think that Lars is like a kind of like a sketchy person that you're inviting to your home where your kid and your husband lives. I felt like we all kind of hear about Larsa. Larsa through her husband Scottie Pippen, and also she's been in this friend group that Nicole is trying to be in for over 10 years. So it's not like Larsa came as like a threat towards Nicole. So I don't know why is that like an issue. Like it's so unnecessary, And Marisol, my girl, she confirms and says that she was shocked too that Nicole has such reservations. Because to me, it wasn't making sense. It wasn't adding up, girl. Make it make sense. So Larsa ends the scene saying that Nicole is fake and that Larsa is the one who's straightforward. And how this goes in this episode, it's going to be so hilarious because you're going to see who's going to get the last laugh because I am so gagged by this episode. We then move on with the scene with Adriana and Lisa. And so Adriana, she wants to show Lisa her BBL. And all I can think of is, yes, we're going to have a funny moment, make Lisa laugh, make her forget her troubles a little bit. But then I'm like, damn, Adriana, why you have to mention that you have a big guy in Miami that is so interested in Lisa and that she wants to give like introductions to each other. And I'm like, no, Lisa is not ready. Like, girl, like, how does that make sense? Like, I can understand the thought behind Adriana's thinking to help Lisa to get over the old man, go with a new man. But I'm like, no, this is so fresh. Like, you could even see the look on Lisa's face. She's like, I got bigger fishes to fry. Like, this is not even a thought that passed through my mind. Like, she still wants to be with her husband. Like, I bet you, like, in the time of her filming this scene, she would take her husband back and, take everything back and move forward and do the recovery for this. But the issue is that he doesn't want her and she's dealing with that. So I'm like, damn, this is not good timing, Adriana. Not at all. Now it's time for Alexia to make her speech at her charity. And it was such a sweet speech. I feel like you cannot listen to her talk about the growth that she wants for her son and not cry. I felt like watching Frankie's journey along with Alexia, you see how important this is, how passionate she is. Like, you cannot say that Alexia do not love her kids. Like, she tries everything possible. I appreciate that she really takes us on the ride to the journey of Frankie becoming more independent, and we see photos of his progress, and to see that he's understanding that there's more work that needs to be done. And it is great to have these moments. Like, these are real women. Like, this is what other franchise need to like see. This franchise, Housewives of Miami, the women are genuine. They really show what goes on in their lives, their daily struggles, and the good parts and also the bad parts. And I can really respect Alexia for letting us to even have any insight into what her life is like. So I really did appreciate that. We then go and see Gertie with her family, and they're doing family time. And I felt like this was a bit of a filler scene. It had some cute moments, but I don't need her to kind of give us any impression that this family does not spend time or they're on in a bad situation or anything like that. I feel like it's a real family. Family don't always have to spend time together, and when they do, they have a good time. Like, this is a sweet family. It was nice to see them play charades, and at first I'm like, okay, they suck at playing charades, but Russell, he's a pro. He's really good at getting all the answers right. I did like how her friend who helps her out for her scenes and for her work and stuff like that, Manu, he helped he played part of the game. It was actually his first time playing, and actually he was pretty good. So I did enjoy that a lot. I was so fascinated to see her interaction with her boys because, she's a boy mom, so she kind of feels like the boys have their dad, so she doesn't have to be so much there. But no, she does have to be there because a mom is something that is so important for young boys to see, and to see what it's like to have a relations with a woman and stuff like that. So it's very important that she's present in their lives. But I think honestly, I prefer seeing Gertie in her work, like seeing her in her element to gratify events. That's amazing to me. So it was nice to get this scene, but I didn't think it was so much necessary. I understand that there's like a theme that they have to kind of go through, like a story that they have to say, but I felt like, let's not create something that's not an issue. That is my attitude towards this. Now we then have a scene with Julia and her stylist, and I can see for others how this may be considered a filler scene, but I feel like if you don't understand the world of adoption, what she's saying is a pretty big deal. We know that Julia is interested in adopting kids into her home with her wife, and she talks to her stylist because her stylist has a husband that also have adopted kids, and so he explains to her the adoption process and what to expect. So she didn't realize how much involved the government is in this process, which honestly, when you think about it, when you go through the adoption process, it's you, your partner, and the government as the third parent. So a lot of things that you would do in your own home as a parent can apply, but when it involves a child from the state does get involved in the parenting the child. So that's an element that people are unaware of or are not ready for, because you pretty much open yourself up and your family to the government making decisions that maybe you wouldn't make yourself. And she's realizing that and seeing that. It's amazing that she's actually considering wanting an older child, because of course everyone, when they want to do adoptions, the babies are the most popular option to do. So it was nice that she's considering a kid that's older. She said 3 and up. I would even say that kids in their teens are even much more difficult to get adopted. So for her to even consider an older kid, that's amazing. That just shows how sweet her heart is. And them being in a same-sex marriage, there's also some difficulties there, because not all adoption agencies work with arranging babies to be adopted to same-sex marriage. Is pretty much a new thing. So she's seeing the hardships and preparing for the hardships that's up ahead for them. So that was a good, actually very informative scene, and I did appreciate that, especially coming from a family that have adopted children. We next get into 2 scenes that work together, which will go down in history for this franchise, Housewives of Miami, and also for the Housewife franchise in general, because this is such a moment. Oh my god. So let me set it up for you. So we have Larsa and Gertie in Larsa's home, and they're having lunch together, and pretty much they're going over what happened with the fight with Nicole, and Larsa's telling her side, and Gertie, she's listening to hear, Larsa's perspective. It then jumped scenes to Nicole and her husband, who's having dinner at a restaurant, and they're kind of talking about their engagement party that they're gonna have in a little bit. And I just have to say, I love how they order food. They order so much food. It's like, yes, I love people who actually eat. Even though Nicole says she's juicing down for her engagement dress, I'm like, please don't even make that a thing. I kind of hated that, but I was like, okay, don't make that a thing. You love to eat. I love to eat. I love that about you. So they actually get into talking about what happened with her fight with Larsa. And we have we have the husband giving so much feedback, injecting himself into the situation as he should. He's defending his wife, but he's just calling out shots towards Larsa. I'm like, sir, this is too much. This is like that. Actually, it's unfair because Larsa doesn't have anyone to fend for herself, a partner to fend for herself. And so Nicole's husband, he's saying that, who is Larsa? Larsa is nobody. Like, you only know her because she's a Pippin. She's associated to her husband. Aside from that, you don't know Larsa. Larsa's not important. She's a jealous woman. And what she says is so reckless. It's so much assumptions are being made. And it's like, oh my God. I was like, okay. Me taking this information, I'm like, they're very hard on Larsa because, like they said, they claim they don't know Larsa. They only hear what the articles say. That's not knowing Larsa. So I feel like it's a bit unfair how they're going about this. And I understand this is coming from anger because of what she said was quite hurtful. But honestly, I say that this is a moment for Larsa to write a book and tell a story about herself and name it Past This Fat Butt. Out of spite. I feel like this could be a moment for her because apparently everyone wants to know who's Larsa. And so she should say who's Larsa is. Because damn, I feel like, and you can see on Nicole's face, like, did you have to say that? Like, did you have to comment about her butt? Like, are we making comments about what women look like? Like, sir, this husband dragged Larsa, and I'm like, oh my God, calling her irrelevant? No, obviously she's not irrelevant because you're talking about Larsa. Like, you're having a dinner date with your wife and you're talking about Larsa. So I felt like this is too much. And then it jumps scenes back to Larsa and Gertie in Larsa's home. And there's a knock on the door, a package delivery. And so Gertie's excited. She's like, oh my God, what could this be? And they say, oh, this is from Nicole. And she's like, oh my God, even much more excited, much more happy. Gertie is thinking that this is a peacemaking gift, which can help and mend their friendship or start up a friendship. And so Larsa, she opens the package. It's beautifully wrapped. Like it's this glass thing that's open, and it's a little mirror. And then Larsa, she reads it. She starts reading it, and she says, fake. And Larsa has a smirk on her face, and Gertie's face is like, oh my God. Gertie does the faces. Gertie's like, oh my God. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fake? Larsa smirk. And Gertie's face turned. She reads the whole thing, and Nicole lets her know that she was uninvited to the engagement party. I'm like, Nicole! I was like, oh my God, this package poetically uninvited Larsa to the engagement party. To a party that, Larsa said, yeah, I'm going to still go. Because, Larsa, she loves an event. She loves showing up, getting dressed up, taking pictures to put up on her Instagram. She likes to have a moment. So I'm like, Nicole. I'm like, this really takes the cake of uninvites for the Housewife franchise. I'm like, this is a moment, Nicole really cemented this. She really did that. She let her know who's fake. Like, that was her moment. And Nicole is telling her husband how she sent over a package, and her husband's like, ooh, that's funny. And they're laughing about it. They're taking cheers, shots. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is such a moment. This made the episode. Honestly, I lived for this because this was the moment. Oh my God. So after this moment, I'm so hyped up. I'm saying, let's see. I want to see Nicole's engagement party. Let's go. So we see Nicole getting ready, and then she does a FaceTime with Gertie. And Gertie is talking about the surprising package, and Nicole says, well, she didn't want to tell Gertie, so she didn't have this information beforehand, so that she's showing to Gertie that she respects her friendship with Larsa, which I respect. And Gertie's like, that was such an awkward moment for me. Like, she was like roadkill sitting there looking at Larsa with her face being shocked on the package that she didn't even see coming. And, it then moves on. We see Larsa. She's in her home. And Larsa, she's so cute. Larsa is like, I didn't even want to go. I get to enjoy my night with not having been bothered to get ready for an event I didn't even want to go to. That she's staying home with her loved ones. And you see her in the scene cleaning after her dog. And I'm like, this is hilarious. For me, if I was uninvited to a party, what would I do? I would definitely, first, I want the home to be clean, everything nice, and then order a whole pizza, thin crust, with some wine, and then some wings on the side, and a dessert. And watch something on TV, something nice. I don't know, maybe a movie, maybe something, I don't know, a good TV show, and then enjoy my evening like that, and, not be bothered that I was uninvited. But that scene, oh my God, I'm still gagging over it. So now we see the venue where Nicole's having her engagement party, and the theme is surrounding about Vegas, where they met and fell in love. I saw it and I'm like, damn, they really spent some coin. I'm like, damn, if I'm watching at home, if I was Larsa watching this at home saying, damn, I missed this party. I mean, it looks good. It looks very pretty, very aesthetically pleasing. It will be good for a little photo shoot to put on my Instagram. The foods look good too. They're foodies, so they have good foods. And also they had good drinks. And Julia, she was one of the first girls to show up to the party. And of course, she supports Larsa being uninvited. She was like, yes. She's like, that's okay in my books. Adriana, you see her in the car ride with her date, which I was waiting. I was like waiting for the girls to like react to her date coming through. It's a date with the guy who is not married that she confirmed with him with proof, and she wants to showcase this proof. But I was still going. I still wanted the girls to find out that Larsa was uninvited. I'm like, hurry up, get to this. So we then see Nicole's father show up, and he's a funny guy. He shows up, and the first thing he does is he flirts with Kiki. And Kiki is the kind of girl who knows how to play it off, to ha 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 he he, to have fun with him, and she enjoys his company. And it was a whole moment. We then see Marcel. She shows up, and I'm like, she's wearing white. Girl, you do not show up to someone's engagement party wearing white. You cannot do that. You gotta upstage the bride. Like, let her have her moment. And, Nicole, she mentions that, which is a little shot at Marcel. Marcel, she had her eyes kind of rolled a little bit. She's like, it's not a big deal. Apparently, she didn't know it was a black tie event. I don't know if that would have changed what kind of outfit she wore. Probably it does. Probably like the specifics. Maybe she would wear like a more extravagant dress. But it was funny that, she was like, I rolled this whole situation about wearing white. And I'm waiting for the girls to address the big outfit. Where's Larsa? Like, Larsa had an issue with Nicole, and she's not here yet. So where's Larsa? No one is saying anything yet. They talk about the whole situation of a prenup. And we learned that Julia has no prenup, even though everyone advised Martina, oh no, you should get a prenup with, especially since you're dating Julia. And this whole thing that, because she's Russian, you should get a prenup. I thought that was like, that was the ick. But Julia says she has no prenup. And finally, Gertie, she mentions it. And she says, oh, guys, Larsa is uninvited. I'm like, yes. And the girls, they're looking gagged, like, oh. And you see this whole moment. I love when Alexia's gagged, because Alexia, she does funny faces too. I mean, I feel like Alexia and Gertie are the funny face girls, especially when they're shocked, because they really show their emotions. Cuban and Haitian people, they show their emotions. We wear it on our face in the whole body language, yes. And the girls are gagged. And then, of course, Nicole, she comes into the scene. And she hears what the girls are discussing, and she's like, yeah, I stand by the decision. Like, she stands on her decision because she works so hard to have the career that she does, and she feels like her job is on the line, especially when you make accusations like that. And Alexia, she kept it real. Alexia, she's gonna have her opinion. She's gonna say her opinion. She says, well, but it's still quite rude that you invite someone to your home and you tell them before you invited them you had to look them up. That's rude. And Nicole feels like, well, no. She doesn't know. Well, she didn't know Larsa, and so she felt like it was a normal thing to do, that anyone would have done that. Like, this, what she did was not something that was outrageous. And she doesn't get how these girls don't have her back, because she feels like this could impact her job. Like, there's a code of conduct that she gotta follow, and she's in jeopardy of possibly losing her job or having any questions about it. And throughout this whole moment, I'm waiting for a girl to say something funny, and thank God for Marisol. Marisol's like, I wish I was uninvited to this party. And I understand Nicole, but I don't also understand Nicole. She gets up, and of course she's like, you girls don't understand. When you work so hard for your life for over 20 years to have something, you would be just upset as I am. And she leaves scene. And I'm like, no, this cannot be the end of the show. This cannot be the end of the episode. Where is Lisa? We barely saw Lisa a little bit earlier in the episode, but not enough to be satisfied. I was like, damn, this show moved way too fast. I truly enjoyed this episode, and I look forward for next week for the next episode. And I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. And if you do, please like and share with your friends. And I can't wait for next episode. See you guys then. Take care. Bye-bye.